How do I get a woman I date to stop thinking I'll be unfaithful if they're always suspicious?
Well, the interesting thing to keep in mind before we even get into it is that no one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment. I've been doing this 2 decades, and the one constant that we notice over and over, where there's lying, there's infidelity, there's cheating, and having done a number of phone sessions over the years with people that are actually lying and cheating. Like, I remember one guy I was talking to years ago, and he was from Europe, and he'd been with his girlfriend, I think almost 10 years at that point. And he had pretty much been cheating on her constantly since the time that they met, with typically 3, 4, 5 different women a year. She had no idea. And I remember talking to him, and it's like, he's like, come on, Corey, everybody cheats. He's like, you cheat. And I was like, I've never cheated on anybody I've ever been with. And like, he didn't believe it, because in his mind, his mentality is, everybody's like him, everybody thinks like him. Mm-hmm. And he just was like totally convinced that given the right circumstances, everybody's a liar and a cheater, just like him. Mm-hmm. And so that's his model of the world. And so I've typically found that people that are liars and cheaters, they also think everybody's like that. So if you're a liar and a cheater yourself and you think everybody's like that, and then when you get in a relationship with somebody and you assume everybody's like that, what happens? You're constantly accusing the other person of typically doing things that you're guilty of doing. And so that's often what I would see in these cases, is like, especially when I do phone sessions, there's evidence of this. The woman's constantly accusing the guy of doing something he shouldn't be doing. He's like, what are you talking about? And then yet when you really delve into it, some of the behavior that she's displaying, staying out late, giving out her phone number, putting her phone with the face down so you can't see what's on the text, being on her phone, then putting it down when you walk in the room, and those kinds of things, inconsistencies in stories, catching her in little white lies. And what happens is you realize that the person that's doing the lying and cheating is the one that's always accusing the other people of doing that. So the reason I went into that little diatribe is that's something to be on the lookout for, is because people project what's inside onto the other person in order to disassociate from that. And so somebody that's insecure, or somebody that actually has something to hide, will often do that. They'll often project it and accuse the other person of that. Mm-hmm. And so the way to nip it in the bud, if it's just somebody that's being insecure and they need reassurance, because I had this in a girlfriend I had when I was younger, and she was just constantly, oh, you were talking to that girl, she was hitting on you, you guys really seem to be getting along. I was like, that's my dude's, his wife. It's like, I'm not interested in her. We all love her. She's nice and everything, but she's kind of a pain in the ass. It's like, there's nothing going on there. I don't know what you saw.
Right.
And remember, that was one of the situations. Just staying out late. Oh, who are you out? What are you doing? Who was with you? And I just finally got to the point. I just said, look, I'm a loyal guy. I've never cheated on anybody. I've had the opportunity, and I just don't do that. If I wasn't happy, I'd leave and then go date whoever I wanted. And I said, this is your issue. You need to deal with your insecurities and your doubts. It's like, if you need to get a therapist, you go talk to somebody. This is your issue, and I'm tired of you basically projecting that on me and constantly accusing me of doing something wrong. Mm-hmm. It's like, I don't want to hear it anymore. And to her credit, she knew I was serious and I meant it. And then she never, ever brought it up again, never, ever accused me of that. And in her case, she was just young, she was insecure, and she had come from a family where the dad had cheated on the mom. And so she was obviously going to be suspicious, because she grew up watching her mother be worried about the father cheating and catching him cheating, and then, picking up inconsistencies in his stories. Mm-hmm. And if you grow up and you see that, how could you not come from a place and assume that the people that you're involved with when you become an adult are probably doing the same thing?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if you're with somebody that's loyal and faithful, which I assume this guy is, and it's probably getting under his skin, and he's tired of it, is that you got to have a conversation with her. And you got to tell her to knock it off. And if she won't knock it off after that, and she's constantly accusing you of those things, then typically it often is a sign that she's doing things that she should not be doing. She's the one inviting attention from other men. And so what's happening is she feels guilty about that.
She's reflecting.
Yeah, exactly. So she's projecting what's inside.
Yeah.
And accusing him of that. Because again, it's true. No one will ever do or say anything to you that isn't a direct reflection of how they feel about themselves in a moment.
Yeah.
So it's always something to think about.
I had a moment, like I was with someone for a long time, and they just started kind of acting funny. And so I asked him, like, is something going on? I wasn't, like, looking through his phone or anything, but I asked him, and he gave me, like, an honest answer. He goes, honestly, if I don't want to be with you, I'm going to let you know. That's it. I was like, I don't have the energy to cheat. Like, that's stupid. If don't want to have any interest in being with you, I will tell you and I will leave you. And, like, that's the most honest answer I've ever heard. I was like, well, that's great. Thanks.
Yeah, that's what kind of I basically told my girl, because I was sick of it. You know, that had been going on for 6, 8 months, a year at that point. It wasn't all the time, but it's anytime we were out and a pretty girl was paying attention to me. Like, I remember there was a girl that I dated before her who was really beautiful, and it hadn't worked out, and she got serious with somebody else. And then about a year later, I was with my then girlfriend, and we were out and we saw this girl, and she knew I had dated this other girl. And what was interesting is this other girl was she was eye fucking me basically and staring at me, but before she had drifted away because she got serious with somebody else. And then a year later we run into her, and so my girlfriend saw that and knew about her and saw her checking me out, and obviously she came over at some point to say hello and was friendly, and I just said, hey, yeah, we used to date, but that was then. But that made her jealous.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good thing because it showed she cared, but it was cute at the time. But after that, over the next year, there were just more instances like that where if a woman was nice to me and she was pretty, she assumed that something was going on. I was going to get her number. She was going to give me hers or something like that. And
Right.
it just gets old. Because if you're a loyal and trustworthy person, you don't want to be constantly accused of that.
Yeah.
And so again,
it's unattractive too. Like, you start getting turned off, like, oh, like, you're not confident in yourself, so why should I be confident in you either? It's like, I want someone who's secure, who knows what they have and their worth. I don't want
and they feel like they deserve to be there.
Yeah. Like, I want to feel proud, not someone who's constantly just walking around like a little insecure little puppy.
Yeah, if somebody acts like they're basically a mercy fuck, eventually you're going to agree with them. You're going to agree that you don't deserve me. And eventually you will leave because it's unattractive.
Right.
Love cannot exist where there is no trust.